Good morning and welcome to the Wake Up Call. My name's Kirby. I'm down in from Tennessee this morning, and we appreciate you dialing in for a short 15-minute inspirational call to kind of get your morning started. And the lady that kind of kicked this thing off several years ago with the idea to start this 15-minute wake-up call Monday through Friday. And by the way, if you missed the call and want to dial in and listen to it again, you can go to thewakeupcall.com. And every call is recorded and posted about 30 minutes after it's done. So you can do that. Also, if you're following along with the book Little Things Matter by W. Todd Smith, that's great. If you don't have that, you can buy it online, or you can also go online and search Little Things Matter free download. And it'll download a free PDF, and you can see everything to follow along with us to see what's going on. So with that, I'm going to introduce my wife of coming up on 41 years and the founder of the Wake Up Call to talk about our topic this morning, and that's Miss Cindy Wright. Cindy, you have the call.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wake Up Call. We're on chapter 51, and it is titled Play the Odds to Win. He says, one of life's greatest lessons came to me fairly early in my career. I would often get feedback about the things I said or did that caused offense or people found objectionable. My first reaction was, well, you don't like it, tough. I can't make everyone happy. But with age came maturity, and I began to think differently. Sporting and arrogant, I don't care what you think attitude certainly wasn't going to take me where I wanted to go. It was then that I learned about playing the odds. Playing the odds involves making decisions that give you the greatest probability of success. Does the reward justify the risk? We always have choices. He said, when faced with a choice, play the odds to win. Ask yourself whether your actions or words could cause a problem or are likely to turn someone off. And if so, find an alternative. One of the best ways to increase your odds is to seek feedback and criticism, sometimes even before you take action. Let me give you 3 examples. Number 1, while the use of profanity is on the rise, there is a large majority of people who are offended by foul language, including the use of God's name in vain. If by using inappropriate language you run the risk of turning people off, tainting your reputation, losing a friendship or a career advancement, why do it? Is there an upside? Could it be that people like to hear you swear, and as a result of your profanity, their respect will grow for you? I doubt it. Number 2, I'm sure you've heard this rule, no politics and no religion at the dinner table. Parents wisely know the danger of discussing these 2 topics in a social setting where they can cause an escalation of emotions like the rising mercury in a thermometer on a hot day. Unless you absolutely know the political leanings or religious views of a person, it's best not to discuss these issues that may cause anxiety and offense. You could be running the risk of alienating a friendship or a professional relationship. And number 3, recently I received an email from a young entrepreneur who started his first company. He indicated that one aspect of his personality was to use humor and sarcasm, but that in his leadership position, some people found his comments inappropriate. He asked if he should be his authentic self or if he should change. My response included 1 question and 1 statement. The question, what do you need to be as a person to achieve your professional goals? And the statement, you need to decide what's more important, your offensive humor or your professional success. Think about all the decisions you make in any given week. There are no doubt hundreds where you must consider this question. Is my doing this or saying that worth the risk of turning someone off? But you always have a choice. And, this is just a topic. It's like kind of hard to discuss, like we all have times where we probably say something that offends someone and you have to say, okay, should I take this criticism or should I just say, hey, I'm never going to please everyone. The politics and religion thing is just so true. We were having a dinner party, like, I don't know, a few months ago. And sometimes people just assume because you have friends or family there that they would be of the same political views as you. So my friends, I caught one of my girlfriends just starting to rally in a political conversation with someone that's in my family. And I got up because I knew she thought she was on one side of, the political view, and she wasn't. And so I got up and I stood behind my family member, and I was waving to this girl, stop the conversation, it's not going to end well. So I was mouthing it to her, and she immediately changed the conversation and came up to me a few minutes later, and she goes, oh, thank you so much. I just had no idea. I just figured she was on the same page as you. And I said, well, she's not. So anyway, I stopped her from getting herself into a hole. But anyway, Kirby, I'll give it to you for your comments.
All right, good topics there. Another family member that we have was a school teacher, and a few years back, the election happened, and she didn't like the way that went down, and so she started voicing her views on Facebook in a pretty outspoken way, and it was pretty obvious which side of the fence she was on. And her principal called her into the office and said, you got to stop this. And she got into a big mess with the whole thing because she, did that. And so she stopped, and I think she got off Facebook completely for a while, and they got back on and kind of learned a lesson about that. But politics and religion are polarizing topics that you have to be careful about when you talk about them in public, because you never know, like Cindy said at the party, you just never know. And it's probably best to play the odds and stay away from that conversation. Another example that happened here recently is Cindy has been doing this marriage post, the marriage tips on Facebook that's going really well. And the other day she did one, and I read it, and I'm like, I don't know if that word you're using there, which is which with a B, is something that's okay anymore. I mean, some people use it, and apparently it doesn't have a sting, but it's kind of stung me, and I thought, that might not reflect well on you if you use that word. And we talked about it and got into a bit of a discussion about it. And I think she decided to make a change and took that word out just to be safe, to play the odds, to make sure that it wasn't offending anybody, even though there's a lot to be said for being transparent and being real and being who you are and having people respond to that. People like that. But sometimes I think it can go a little bit too far and cross that line to be a little bit too real, and some people they're going to pull back. So playing the odds to make sure that you don't offend, I think is always a good idea. There's a couple other situations that Cindy or I have said something from stage kind of in passing, and some of these words are kind of on the edge of being offensive. Some people are offended by them and some people are not. Some people use them every day and some people never use them, and you'd never really know. So that's why you got to kind of play the odds with playing it safe. And with that, Cindy, I'll let you make some final comments and see if we got a challenge for the day.
Well, what Kirby was talking about was in my marriage post, and like he said, and it was, BITCH I was using it in a term of a woman basically griping, like venting to her spouse. And I use, the word BITCHING, I think. And Kirby was like, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you wrote that. And I'm like, because I'd already posted it, and it had been out for like a day. And I go, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it is what we do, when we need to vent. And he goes, yeah, but you could have used a different word. And I'm like, my instant reaction was to become defensive about it. Like, well, who cares? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And he said, he basically just left it up to me. I mean, he knows he can't make me do something. But I said, he's like, well, it's up to you how you want people to view you. And if you don't think that's important, then, of course, within 30 minutes, I had gone in and edited it and taken the word out and changed it to something else. But anyway, it is how we react to it, because my first reaction was, well, it's my words. I can say whatever I want. And, and the first time, one time I was up on stage and I said the word crap, like, this is a bunch of crap. I don't know what I said. And I got off stage and Kirby was like, I can't believe you said that from stage, Cindy. And I'm like, what? Like, it's a word I just use. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. That's sad to say, but, and so anyway, he's like, I think you need to, think about the words you use. And I was like, wow, but you know what it did? It brought it to my attention. Like, if it's offending my own husband, it has to be offending other people. And so, I mean, I'm just one of those, I speak my mind, everybody knows it, but as I've, grown up a little bit, like Todd Smith said, I've had to, play the odds, and why am I going to use a word that could offend people, even though I probably still do? I'm at least better, and I try to not do that. He says the challenge today, he said, I want to encourage you to be thoughtful of what you are doing and saying and avoid anything that people might find offensive. It's just not worth the risk. Play the odds and increase your probability of achieving your goals. Life is hard enough already. Make decisions that give you the greatest chance of being a person worthy of respect. In every situation, you can choose the option that won't have an adverse effect on your personal reputation. And the last thing he said is, if you want to win the game of life, make decisions that put the odds in your favor. So it's an interesting chapter. I actually learned a few things today and reminded me of how I need to act better. But anyway, I'll give it to you to close the call, Kirby.
All right, good stuff, Cindy. So thanks for down in the wake-up call today. Let me push a couple buttons and we'll say goodbye.